Hi there and welcome back. Again, my name is Jennifer Cribbs and I'm your CCBC librarian. In this video, we're going to take a closer look at some of the databases that we have available to you as CCBC students, particularly those that you will likely find helpful during your speech class this semester. So today we're going to take a closer look at facts.com, EBSCOhost, and Gale Research Complete. Those are three different access points where I feel you will have a good amount of luck in finding resources that fit your needs. But then we're going to use the CRAP framework evaluation method to determine if those sources really do fit your needs. And then I'll talk a bit about some of the additional support options that we have available for you during your research process and beyond. So before we go into our databases, let's talk a little bit about web searching because it is so tempting. I think we all do it all the time, just to pull out your phone, just to Google something. There are certainly advantages. You get billions of responses, billions of hits. Everything's very current. You can definitely see the latest events and happenings. It's very user-friendly and it's free and convenient. However, there are a host of disadvantages. Oftentimes, the very first few results are like paid sponsors. They actually stay on there, they're advertisements. So oftentimes, you may not be getting the best results, you're just getting the results from the companies that want to influence your possibly purchase-making decisions. So just something to be aware of. You also may find sites that lack credibility. It's a little difficult sometimes to find out who's actually behind the information and where that information is coming from. Anyone can publish anything online. And then, of course, there's privacy concerns. It is a fact. This is not crazy conspiracy theorist stuff. It is a fact. You are being tracked online. Little bits of information, such as where you're browsing from, what your browsing habits are, what sites you tend to view, those little bits of information are being tracked and used to manipulate the results that you see. So a good way to avoid that is to use the library resources. Let's go ahead and go to the library webpage now, and we'll take a look at some of our databases. All right, from the library page, which again, CCBC, again, we're going to start off at the ccbc.edu. There is a link through Blackboard for the library, but we're just going to go to ccbc.edu, and from the top menu, click Library. Welcome again. Now, always while you're on our library pages, you'll find this gray sidebar. And from here, these are our library pages, and you can click on Research Tools. And scrolling down to our databases, the very first one that we have listed is EBSCOhost. That just is a gateway to just lots, like millions of different resources, multidisciplinary. Everyone is going to find something there, almost guaranteed. But the very first one we're going to look at today is actually facts.com. Facts.com is the subscription database that CCBC offers. It has reports on hundreds of different current and hot topics. They like politics, government, society, education, pop culture, all sorts of different things. But what's unique about this is that it presents both sides and they're backed with sources. So that way you're getting pretty unbiased information. So let's take a look here. So you'll click on this. I've already logged in and been through, but chances are you will have to log in using your CCBC credentials. That's first name dot last name and then your password. And again, just a reminder, if it doesn't work instantly, unfortunately, even though your password might work for Blackboard and your email and all of that, Unfortunately, it expires on a different time frame for the library databases, so you will have to reset. Here we are at the main page of issues and controversies. Now here on the main page, you will find a lot of the top newest articles and things that are really being discussed. You can certainly browse through and decide, let's say you need some assistance deciding on your topic, look through and find things that might be of interest. But let's say I was interested in doing a persuasive speech. Now, this is something that's been on my mind. I've really been assisting several of our education students here on campus. So let's say I'm interested in persuading educators that homework is not necessary. So I might do, oh, that's an old search, but let's go ahead and take a look at homework. Now from this is just our basic search. We can certainly type in keywords and get some results, as we're going to do. And oh, it's actually working out really well. Is homework beneficial to students by the numbers? This is pretty on target with what I'm looking for. But what I can do is go to advanced search if I've already determined my topic and get a little bit more refined. So let's take a look at education and homework. And from this advanced search, I do really like to use it because chances are you're going to need more current sources. Depending on your field, for our nursing and healthcare students, they generally say within the last 5 years they want information. For other classes, usually within 10 years, it really depends on the field of study. If it's science or technology and like things change rapidly, of course you're going to want it as current as possible. If it's something more historical or maybe about like in a writing or an English literature class, then that information doesn't change as rapidly. You might be able to go back much further. But for purposes of our search, I'm going to narrow it for 2013, so the past 10 years. This automatically does it for you if you want only the most current information. You can also take a look at by subject. I'm just going to go ahead and click education in schools. If you know exactly what type of thing you want, feel free to play around there. But I'm going to run our search based on education and homework in the past 10 years in the subject of education in schools. All right, here we have our search results. Online education, abstinence-only education. We're going to scroll through. Okay, homework. Is homework beneficial to students? These pro-con articles are fantastic. They present both sides of an issue, backed with sources, in generally a very unbiased way, so that way you yourself can decide. I'm going to click on this article now and show you some of the tools we can use within this. I will say, as this is loading, you may not necessarily want to read through the article in entirety as you're just doing your general information gathering process. So something that you probably should do is just take a look at your introduction and your overview. I love the format of this. You can see the supporters argue that it supplements in-class learning, whereas opponents say has absolutely become unreasonable. Excessive homework has yielded a fatigued and stressed student population. Whereas this one says it assists students in closing the achievement gap. So this is just our general introduction right here. This is not quite our full article just yet. And if I decided, yes, this is certainly something I'm interested in, what I can do is save the article. If I create my own account in here, it will save it within my account. However, I like to download it so that way I know I always have it. If you prefer to print, you could certainly do that too. So right now, we're just gathering our sources, but I do want to point out that this, as you read through the articles, also has some additional sources that might be helpful to you, and some other keywords that you might use in your searches. We're now going to go back to the library, back to research tools, and scroll back down to databases. I do want to show you EBSCOhost, and then we'll briefly take a look at Gale Research Complete, just because I feel like it very well could help streamline the research process for many of your projects. But let's go ahead and click through to EBSCOhost. If you've already logged in for rfacts.com, you will not have to again for EBSCO. Now, this is a tiered package. We have a lot of other resources, but the primary one we'll use is EBSCOhost Web. However, feel free, explore. There's a lot of amazing information out there, but for purposes of today, and most likely everything you'll use is through EBSCOhost Web. Now, this is our access point to our databases. Oftentimes, especially in library science, this is really talked about with the analogy of a shopping center. So right now, I want you to imagine that you're driving up from, let's say, like downtown Monaca area along Broadhead Road towards the main campus. And over, as you're driving over on your left, there's like Walmart. Over on your right, there's Lowe's and a pet store and Target. Continuing up, we've got a auto repair store, we've got Dollar Tree, we've got a lot of different places. So these different databases are like those stores. Some are extremely large and multidisciplinary, more like general stores, and some are very small and specific. So Academic Search Elite and Master File Premier, those are going to be our two main multidisciplinary databases. Those are like the Target and the Walmart of our databases. Looking through here, we do have specialized ones for those in our health science programs, for our education program. Greenfile has a really good environmental collection business. So feel free to look through here and see what could work for your needs the most. I will say there is this select all option. Please do not select all. It will just overwhelm your searches. If you're doing multidisciplinary and just want general store information, I would say select these top two, or if, like in this case, we are doing something that is education related, you might just want to go straight there. Just as if, say, you're looking for a dog toy, you could certainly find it at Walmart or Target, but if you want a really good premium sort of selection, you're probably going to head to the pet store. So for today's purpose, we're going to continue with that homework example. I'm going to go ahead into Eric. Now this brings up just a basic search bar. So from here, I could certainly just type homework. And what's nice about this is that it gives you different options that you might be looking for. I can just do a search for homework. However, I do want to point out right here, where you limit your results, we do want to select full text, especially when we're just starting out our research process. EBSCO, the databases within here, will give you articles that we do not have a full text subscription for. It can be nice in finding additional sources, but we're going to look for things that we can read in full right here, right now. If it does come up, you find something you can't find full text for, again, please let me know. I want to remind you again about those interlibrary loan programs. There's a very good chance we can get those articles for you. But we have full text, we have homework. I'm just going to run this search knowing that I'm probably going to want to go to advanced search, but we'll see. Yes, we have over 3,000 hits that is okay. Looking through here, there's a lot of things about homework. It's not very specific as far as um, homework and if it should be, if it's helpful or not. So I'm going to go ahead to go to advanced search, and I'm going to type in pros and cons and see where that leaves me. Now, as you're searching, please experiment. You can use different words. You can use different limiters. Oh, that full text somehow got unchecked, so always check that. If you know specifically what you're looking for, you have a lot of different options here. Publication type can be helpful if we're looking for journal articles. I'm just going to leave those unchecked for now, as this is just a brief demo. All right, I'm down to just 6 results. I'm going to look through here. If I find that they're not really matching what I'm looking for, then I could change my actual search keywords. But let's just take a look at this homework and why. That is a full text electronic resource. Let's get in here. Attitudes through homework. Now I look and see that it is 1985. I may or may not want it. However, if I'm interested, I have those similar options to save or print or email over here. Let's close out of that. Actually, I'm just going to go back to ccbc.edu/library because I do want to show you Gale Research Complete. This is a newer access point for our library. We just got it this past summer. And research tools, where am I? Okay, as easy as that. So research tools, and then go and click on Gale Research Complete. This again is multidisciplinary. There are so many different resources. These one files, pretty much whatever topic you're looking for, you can find it here. But we're going to go for this demonstration into Educators Reference Complete, which is actually just a different point for Eric. But the thing I wanted to show you on Gale is that it has this topic finder. So if you're not 100% sure where you want to go with your topic, this can help you. So I want to talk about homework, of course. I have my choice of tiles or wheels. It's just a visual preference. And these are all different subtopics in the subject of homework. So online homework, academic achievement, approach. Let's just take a look at school. And then from school, I might put value, the value of homework in school. If you notice, these results are updating as I'm clicking over to the different bubbles. So from here, this gives me these direct links to the articles. I actually started to scream, mathematical trauma from doing math homework. Homework, time to turn it in. That sounds like something that might answer my question as to how valuable homework is. So I'm going to click here. Now remember how I said I love this because I feel it's going to streamline the research process? Once you find an article and bring it up, this has this fantastic sidebar here that says more like this. So from here, these are articles with similar keywords. You can actually click down to all related articles, and this will give you many more sources that it might give you a good starting point to collect more resources that you need. And I will say, looking here, you do have to be cautious as these do tend to be older articles. So just be aware of that. You can always go to advanced search And again, go back and do, instead of publication dates, instead of all dates, say after, and then put in the date of, was it 10 years that we did? So 2013, and you could run your search from there. So the main point is there are lots of different ways to explore these databases. There is so much information out there. If this feels at all overwhelming to you, please reach out. That is what I'm here for, and the library staff. We are happy to help guide you towards the resources you need and kind of give you one-on-one personalized recommendations as far as like what you could search for and how to search, because it can be a bit intimidating. Let me go back to the slideshow. I do want to talk about evaluating your sources. So whether it's a web search or whether it is an article that you've pulled up from a database, just remember the best source is a credible source. And a credible source is one that's going to be from a trustworthy author or organization, and also one that is backed by evidence. So the field of library science has come up with many, many, many frameworks for determining whether a source is good or not. Now, the one I remember is the CRAP test. And that's just, let's go through it right now. I do want to explain these terms. This is nothing that you really need to sit down and do this full worksheet for every single source you pull, but I do want to give you the information so you're aware of what does constitute a good source. And if you're questioning it, I have this whole sheet on the library website and actually in print form here in the library. So if you need it, it is available. So currency just basically is how current is it, how we restricted our search to the past 10 years. No matter your topic, generally, the more current something is the better it's going to be. R is relevancy. How appropriate is it for your needs? Does it answer the question? Is it for your intended audience? If it's in a level that's too high or too low for your understanding and your purpose, you may not want to consider it or only consider tiny parts of it. The authority. Who wrote it? Can you trust them? Or is it coming from, like, especially the internet sources? Is it some weird random stranger with these out there ideas? You don't know who may have written something because, again, anyone can publish anything online. But even when you're looking at journal articles, it's also helpful to know what the author's credentials are. Are they backed by a large institution? Are they sponsored by a particular organization? What other research have they done? Just something that you should consider. Accuracy. Is the information supported? Can it be trusted? Are the other resources that you've pulled kind of backing up the information that's in that article? Or is this like new information that might be a little out there and you're questioning? And then finally, purpose. Why was it written? There's always going to be bias. Like, bias absolutely exists. Even whenever we were talking about the facts.com, how we saw the pros and the cons, each of those gives some bias. But the fact that it presents it in both ways makes for a pretty good source. But even if you do find that the information might be leaning a certain way, it doesn't mean you necessarily have to exclude it as a resource. Just you yourself make sure you continue to do your research so you can examine both sides of an issue, particularly if you are building an argument. And if you have questions after this video or through your research process, we do have answers. The information is posted on the library website, and I do want to show you one more thing on the library website. There we go. So from here, we have our hours of operation. These are certainly ways to contact me, but also remember this Power Library has this virtual reference service 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you need help outside of library hours, this is a great resource. We also have our academic coaches and our accessibility office housed right here in the library. So there are lots of different options. Please reach out if you do find yourself in need of help. So come on by the library. I hope to meet all of you, and I hope this has been helpful. Thank you very much.